Hello, today I would like to present you how you can run 24 volt appliance or recharge 24 volt battery using 12 volt DC system as an input. This is going to be great if you've got a solar installation that is 12 volt base, or you've got a camper, truck or any other automotive applications where you've got alternator that is outputting 12 volt. This is a Victron Energy Orion-Tr Smart. It is an isolated DC to DC charger, but the name charger is not everything, because this device can be also acting as a power supply. If you take a look here, I purchased isolated model, and you should be always purchasing only isolated DC to DC converters unless you fully understand why you do not need it. In every other cases, go with isolated. What isolation mean? Isolation mean that input and output is going to be galvanically separated, just like you would be using transformer on AC. It is crazy important because if you do something stupid, you can create second ground path between 24 volt and 12 volt systems, and you can burn your expensive device. Imagine this would not be isolated device and I would attach to output my MacBook. Everything is going to be working 100% fine. Then I grab amplifier that is attached to 12 volt system and I grab an audio cable or USB and attach it to the MacBook, and now those two systems have got another ground path that can go through the audio cable to the ground of the amplifier. And if something stupid happen, like the ground on this device will not be working properly, will have a high resistance, then you are going to be burning by that current flow. So absolutely always go with isolated models. Then if you touch the negative here and the negative on the battery, there will be no current flowing ever. Absolutely critical. Always go with isolated, not worth to be cheap. I deeply believe it is best model, and that's why I go with Victron Energy. They allow you to configure it via Bluetooth, and in, for example, next 5 years, there will be new battery chemistry. I can open application on the phone, I can connect with this charger, and I can set up my own battery profile. And I'm going to show you that just in a second. As you can see, the input is going to be working from 8 volt to 17. Basically, that translates to being future proof. If there will be new battery chemistry that will have cut-off voltage of, for example, 9 volt, I will be able to set it up and it's going to be working perfectly. If you purchase model that do not have those features, for example, it can have a hard-coded cut-off voltage at 10.5 volt because it was designed for AGM batteries. So those are stuff that you are paying first, but in later it should serve me very well. Here is quite important feature. You've got a remote control switch. You can have a tiny wire with a tiny switch that will allow you to control your output via like a long wire that is not carrying power, the actual load. Here we've got the terminal blocks for the input and the output. So let me attach it. Absolutely beautiful. Here we've got our output and we are also going to attach it. In my case, I will be using that cigarette lighter socket. Here I will be able to attach my 24 volt appliance, and let me connect power and pair it with my phone. Let it boot up, let the Bluetooth start working, and I will connect to my phone. I've got pair it with my iPhone, and as you can see, I've got a readout of the input voltage and the output that I've got set to 27.6 volt. And we can go into settings, and I've got it as a power supply. I can remotely disable the output. I can enable it. Output voltage here, I can click, and I can start making adjustments. So if I would like to go down, that I can go without any problems. And here is the range that you can do. We've got input voltage lockout, and as you can see, we've got the lower threshold, and we also have got the restart value, so it's not going to be cycling on and off between attaching the load. So you've got, of course, ability to select it between those two values, 8 and 17 volt. If you are going to be using lithium iron phosphate, that of course you are going to be changing those values. We are in the power supply, but it's got absolutely no problem in being charger. And now we can try to select our battery profile. And here I've got the factory as a lithium iron phosphate, but we can select at different profiles. Here you can see we've got AGM, spiral, lot of different batteries. Of course, I can go with a user define, and as you can see, I can set up every parameter, even including times. So I can go with the absorption voltage, float voltage, bulk time as a safety feature. Everything you want, you can configure from that. So if there will be totally brand new battery with a little bit different chemistry that do not have 27 volt as a float, then you readjust it. Absolutely beautiful. This is why it's important, because you paid once and it's going to serve you well. But for my use case, I simply go into power supply. And that's done. The configuration is done. You do not need your phone anymore. Let's take a look at the voltage output. And we are reading 27.7 volts. Absolutely beautiful. And we can try to run my coffee machine. So I will just plug it in. On the battery, we are reading 12.7 volt. I will go into current clamp. I go into DC and I will clamp to my negative, just like that. And I'm going to turn it on. And as you can see, we are pulling at the input 36 amp. 36 amp, this is what's coming in. And let me measure the output. And we are outputting 13.7 amp. So if you would be interested, you could calculate the difference. So let me show you the voltage. This is the voltage at the output. And this is voltage at the input. And we're taking a look at the current. I have to reset it. Okay. Output 13.7 amp. Input 36.2 amp. You can try to calculate it, but as you can see, it's working absolutely beautiful. And my coffee machine get a full power. Just take a look how aggressive it is. And we are running it from a 12 volt battery. So it's working absolutely beautiful, and this is exactly what you want. And I do not use 24 volts. That's because those devices are designed to be used with a working engine. So I choose the lowest value, which is 13.8 volt times 2, and it is at 27 volts. So Absolutely beautiful. This is me from future, and as you can see, we've got my DC to DC converter mounted on wall. Here is 12 volt system, here is 24 volt output, and we are going to attach it to that distribution block, and we are going to try how nicely it is working. Now it's time for measuring the current. We enable our device, we are on the DC, and I'm measuring input, and we are pulling 28 amp. And at the output on 24 volt system, we've got 11 amp. So as you can see, everything is working absolutely beautiful. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you find it interesting. See you next time, and bye bye.